DreamHack Open is brought to you by Corsair, Intel, and Monster Energy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to DreamHack Open and Leipzig 2020. It's been a long few weeks without Counter-Strike gracing our screens, but now it is time to kick things off again with DreamHack Open Leipzig. My name is Ferris, your desk host for the duration of this week, and of course joining me, two absolute staples of the analyst desk, Maniac and Potter. Guys, are you excited to be here, to be kicking off CS 2020?
Yeah, I'm very excited. As you said, it's been a long break, right? We all needed to recharge our batteries, have some time with the family, but now we're back. Now it's Counter-Strike time. We have a new setup I think you're familiar with. For me, it's the first time we're seeing in this loungy, comfy situation. I kind of
nice
like
little
it.
orange chairs.
Yeah, I like that. It's like the design of it. I like the vibe of it, so I'm ready for 2020.
And it does seem like the Christmas break always just seems a little bit longer, as I'm sitting there at home wondering when are these matches going to be happening, but we're finally here. We've made it.
Well, of course, we're not the only ones here at DreamHack Open. Thank you so much to our sponsors, Corsair, Monster Energy, and Intel. Thank you for joining us for the first DreamHack Open event of the year. And as you were kind of alluding to there, Potter, we've had a bit of a break. It's kind of weird over Christmas. You've got to go and socialize. You've got to go and do your own thing, not just sit and watch CS. I've very much missed it.
Yeah, I've missed Counter-Strike too, but I think it's needed, right? I think we need to miss it so that we can enjoy it. Because at some point, I feel we are blessed with so many great tournaments here and there, so many great matches, we forget the value of it. So now we've had a break, now we've been missing Counter-Strike, and now we want it again.
Yeah. Exactly, and when they come back in these teams, we're going to see it in these first few matches. Everything seems a little bit more fresh, We're going to see the same defaults, we're going to see the same executes, but for some reason you see that and you're like, that's fresh, that's nice, I like it.
Well, we're going to be getting into exactly what's going to be happening in this tournament very, very shortly. But we had one hell of a 2019 here at DreamHack Open. Let's take a look at some of the highlights.
Has been wild. 7 different DreamHack Opens on 3 different continents. It's been crazy to see all the different styles coming out of all the different parts of the world.
Operation Overkill. Oh, Yuri's flank! He nails it! Gets the player off the defuser. It's another to replace, but it's the last one! Yuri's gonna go in and he
There have been so many highlights coming from these tournaments. Potter, you kind of mentioned there, you've been at every single DreamHack Open in 2019. Have you got any particular highlights coming off of those?
I mean, we kind of talked about it actually in the rehearsal a little bit, but that Neil, we just saw him in this highlight. He's just such an animated character, right? And seeing players or coaches rather like him just being so passionate behind their own teams, and you can really see that it means just as much as to those guys as it does to the players in that server. So I think that's fantastic, and it's so great to see that kind of structure around these younger forming teams.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I joined the DreamHack Open train a little bit late. My first event I worked was actually Jönköping in the winter last year. But it was so nice for me to see the evolution, right? It started as a way for challenging, competitive teams to have these big tournaments. And here we are today with teams that are very, very high in prestige. So this evolution from DreamHack Open was very interesting for me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I joined the DreamHack Open team even later. I was in DreamHack Seville 2019, obviously North were the champions there. And I think that was pretty exciting, especially coming into the tournament today. Just seeing how teams might have changed over the break, but just sort of focusing on North and their win there. They were definitely unexpected victors, right?
They were, but I mean, at the same time, that's the tricky thing. And as you mentioned, Matthew, alluding to, is the competition is so stiff. I mean, there were 5 other teams in Seville that were vying and eyeballing that first place prize. And so it is good, and it bodes well for North to start off the 2020 year with a win under their belt.
Yes, exactly. Well, there are going to be a lot of changes coming into the ESL Pro Tour in 2020. And if you're not familiar, let's take a quick recap with this video.
What is the ESL Pro Tour? Well, we think it's quite a big deal, since it connects over 20 CSGO events by us at DreamHack and our friends over at ESL into one large circuit all over the world. The goal of the ESL Pro Tour is to create a clear path for any team to play their way to the very top, from rookie to global superstar, by earning ranking points and get a chance to climb on the CSGO World Ranking. The end goal? If a team gets enough points, they can get a spot in the 2 Masters Championships every year, IEM Katowice and ESL 1 Cologne. So what role does the DreamHack CSGO events play in the circuit? DreamHack Open is classed as a challenger tournament, and depending on where a team ends up in each DreamHack Open tournament during the year, they earn a different amount of ranking points. Tournaments will provide 100% points value in the road to the nearest Masters Championship, and 50% of their points value to the ranking towards the subsequent Masters Championship. During 2020, we have 8 DreamHack Open tournaments on 3 continents: Leipzig, Anaheim, Valencia, Montreal, Rotterdam, Hyderabad, Jönköping, and Sevilla. You want to know the best part? The teams that win a DreamHack Open tournament qualifies directly to a Masters tier tournament, such as DreamHack Masters, where 10 times more ranking points are up for grabs. The goal of the ESL Pro Tour is pretty awesome. A huge chance and a clear path from zero to hero for aspiring players and teams. As you can tell, it's kind of cool that everything is tied together. Via challenger tournaments such as DreamHack Open and Masters tier tournaments such as DreamHack Masters, the road to the Masters Championships in Katowice and Cologne is wide open. So, if you like CSGO like we do, grab a cold one, lean back, and enjoy the ride. Or don't. It's up to you, really. ESL Pro Tour. One tour, one story, one ranking.
And of course, we'll be starting off here at DreamHack Open Leipzig in the Challengers stage of the ESL Pro Tour. But we also had the chance to catch up with some of the players to see exactly what they thought. Let's check that out.
I think it's amazing that the DreamHack Opens is now a part of the ESL Pro Tour. Since you can qualify now by winning Leipzig, it means that it's going to be more tough here this year playing the DreamHack tournaments, but in general I like it, and I'm looking forward to have some tougher opponents here.
It's a big plus. We will probably see a lot better teams attending these events because they will gain a lot from it. The DreamHack Open circuit will probably be quite big, actually.
Definitely, it's a lot more motivation to just attend and perform well, and then just force yourself to try your best all the time, pretty much.
The viewership will be increased probably, and also because of many good teams will attend to the tournament because it will get more important. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the tournaments, and hopefully we'll play many of them.
There are a lot of names here in Leipzig, and this will be where their journey is starting off on the ESL Pro Tour.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I share the feelings of the players. I mean, the key point is the fact that the events are connecting now. You come to this event, you perform well, you might have a spot in them, you're going to go to Jönköping in the Masters, right? So that is that connectedness that, to me, is the main point of the Pro Tour and makes it so interesting.
For sure. And I mean, we spoke about it so much towards the latter end of last year, and being able to kind of visualize it and see the connectiveness and see exactly how these opens can allow you to make it to those Masters levels. It's a pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah. Well, we have a chance to talk to Mark Winter from DreamHack. Thank you so much for joining us, Mark. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, guys.
How's it all
to join
going?
you. Yeah, I'm good. Excited to get the ESL Pro Tour on the road. Excited to see how the teams are going to come out swinging here in Leipzig. So yeah, definitely excited.
Well, I kind of wanted to ask, first of all, what was the sort of thought process behind creating this?
You know, if you looked at 2019 and even the time before that, there was a lot of great events, but it all came off a little bit as just one-off events. I think, you know, when you sat down and just looked at it, it needed a narrative. It needed a connection between all of it. And that's essentially how it all came about. You can't take anything away that all of them were great events, great storylines. But, you know, once the tournament ended, it kind of dropped off. And then you're just talking about the next one. Here, you know, one narrative leads into the next one and continues for the full year. I think that's a pretty appealing, you know, product in general.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, you already gave a pretty good answer to that, but how did the idea come up? Was it someone just one day said, hey guys, you know, we should link it? Was it on the pipes for a long time? How did this idea just emerge?
You know, there's a great minds in both ESL and DreamHack, so of course it's been a long process. I think what is also super interesting is the elevation of you know, Katowice and Cologne. Those two events have established themselves as the best CS events in the calendar, so it makes sense that, you know, we crown the Master Championships winners for the first part of the year at Katowice, and then later on in Cologne, and everything in between just ties together. So of course a bigger process, but I think when you look at the grand scheme of things, it kind of makes sense that especially Katowice and Cologne plays such a huge role in the entire, you know, year.
So how will you choose who competes in these Masters? Besides the winners of these DreamHack Opens, as we know, we've been mentioning that they are connected, but how will you choose the rest of the participants?
Yeah, so I think not much there will change to the people that watch at home. As you mentioned, the winner of Leipzig and the winner of Anaheim for DreamHack Open will qualify directly to DreamHack Masters in Jönköping. We'll still continue to use the CSGO World Ranking by ESL to determine direct invites. And as always, we will continue to have regional online qualifiers for aspiring and up-and-coming teams to still have a shot at qualifying for these bigger events.
And you were talking about Katowice and Cologne being such main point in Counter-Strike, and I agree with you. But is it always these two events going to be the Masters Championship? Could we see a new one? What's your thought on that?
Sure. I mean, for the foreseeable future, it's not going to change. It's what we elected to be the best one on the calendar. If that changes down the road, you know, never say never. But for now, it's the two best Counter-Strike events outside of the majors for the calendar. So it makes sense for now.
And with the stock of these DreamHack Opens being raised, I mean, we even see MIBR attending Anaheim coming up here in the next few weeks. How are you gonna allow the tier 2 and 3 teams to kind of get into the mix as well and participate in these Opens?
I've been met a little bit with these questions already, and I think one thing to keep in mind is that we are kicking off the ESL Pro Tour today, so we'll see how things kind of progress throughout the year. Made in Brazil playing in Anaheim, they didn't qualify to Katowice, so maybe that's also an indication of their form. They didn't make it, so maybe that's where they will be playing a little bit in the foreseeable future to gain some momentum again. We'll not bear anyone from playing, essentially. So if you have from the top 10 layer, anyone is, you know, welcome to participate, since it is a full circuit. We do still see that the Open will primarily be, you know, attracting the layer from, let's say, you know, low end 20 to down on you know, top 30, top 35-ish teams. Yeah, as I said, we're looking forward to see how everything progresses, and then of course we'll evaluate and see if we need to amend changes in the long run.
Well, it was great getting to speak to you, Mark. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us this morning.
You're welcome. Have a good show, guys.
Thank you. Now, we've also got a very new, exciting segment. This is our tip of the day, where we, well, maybe not us, the pro players, will be giving you advice on how to become a better player. And we thought, you know what, why not start off with how to get out of silver? So let's take a look at the players and what they had to say.
If you're stuck in silver, just try to join a team as soon as possible. Try to develop an understanding of the team game.
Keep playing a lot of deathmatch, aim practice and stuff, and at some point, if you have a bit of talent, you will hopefully get there.
Play a lot, play, and
obviously look at the pro players.
Play your own game, play some deathmatch, and try and just play at the level you're at and keep getting better. Don't overthink it too much.
When I started playing CSGO, I ranked like silver. I was silver, I wasn't buying armor, I wasn't doing eco rounds, and everyone was yelling at me, calling me a noob, what are you doing, and etc. A lot of toxicity, but I just kept playing, getting better, and here I am.
Just aim boards and then just learn and just have fun still. Always have fun. Don't be toxic.
Keep grinding and love the game.
I think if you believe in yourself and you have you're putting your aims high, so just don't listen to anyone, just play, just improve, and you're gonna be rare like a lot of pro players.
Definitely some great tips coming out from there. I definitely did you guys a bit of a disservice though. You guys are former pros up here, but we did all have to start from somewhere. So what was it like when you guys were playing in silver, and how did you guys get out of it?
Did you ever play in silver? I have to admit, I never played in silver. I do not know what it is. I have no idea.
But I gotta say, the players' tips were good, but I'm gonna give a straightforward tip. Learn how to bait. Learn how to bait. Yes.
No, don't listen to that.
Learn how to bait.
What kind of message are you sending out there? You're gonna have people not trading teammates, just baiting to get out of silver.
Hey, I don't
that
mean
is the wrong
camping.
message.
Don't camp, but learn how to bait, you know?
Yeah, let's define the difference between bait and camp. We can do that in another one, maybe.
Well, thank you so much for joining me, guys. We are just about ready to be getting into our first game of the day. We'll be back right after this short break. Don't go anywhere.